Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Funhaus. I'm Adam Kovic, joined by
James Willems,
Bruce Green,
Elise Willems, or official Kingsman.
You guys okay? You all excited?
Is there Canadian Kingsman?
Yeah, they're the Mounties men.
You bet there are. They're
That would be
in
good.
Kingsman in every country. We're going to
Man.
find that out in the third one.
This episode of Funhaus is brought to you by Mac Weldon. We got a special deal with them, but we'll be talking about them later. This is actually going to be a really different episode because we're crazy busy this week. You guys are flying all over the place. I don't want to take up too much of your time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the show does better when we talk about shitty movies. So Lawrence and I are going to be sitting down later in a pre-produced package where we review American Psycho 2. There's more of a story behind that. But I want to talk to you guys about Kingsman because I didn't see it, and you all did.
Yeah.
And I want you to convince me to go see Kingsman 2.
Did you like Kingsman?
I did. I like Kingsman 1 a lot.
Go see Kingsman 2.
Then you'll like Kingsman 2.
Okay.
Do you like poor portrayals of females in cinema?
I love that.
Then you'll love this film.
Aw.
You like Julianne Moore? Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about much more than that, Bruce. But that's for another podcast.
I like the girl with no feet in the first one. Is she
She's
back?
cool. No, she's not.
No.
She died.
Remember she
Don't
died?
spoil it.
Yeah,
Hey.
she
She died in
I
the
forgot.
first one.
She died in the first Kingsman.
Do you like it when you forget spoilers? So I had an idea, just because I want to quickly get through this, since the movie came out a week ago and it's old news at this point. I want you to come up with 3 things. So it's either 2 things that you liked about it, 1 thing you didn't, or 2 things you didn't like about it and 1 thing that you did.
Okay.
Collectively, you were supposed to decide this before the podcast, but I didn't talk
For
to
me-
you.
Oh, right. Yeah, you just literally told us now.
Well, for me, I think we talked about this earlier. It felt disjointed. So, like, there are parts of the story that didn't quite fit together and other parts that did.
Yeah.
Whereas I felt like the first Kingsman had a little more of a flow to it. This one did
Yeah,
not.
the Kingsman 1 is definitely a much more structured film with a pretty standard hero's journey.
Yeah.
Crazy wild kid on the streets finds out that his street wildness has the potential to be very useful. But my problem is that Kingsman 2 felt kind of like Brewster's Millions. I've been saying it a lot, but it felt like Matthew Vaughn wrote a script that probably cost $80-90 million to make. The studio came back and said, we'll give you $200 million, but you have to spend every penny of it. And so it's like almost like the movie finds excuses to be more elaborate and expensive than maybe it needs to be. As you can see, there's robo-dogs. It expands on the world, but in a weird way that it didn't feel like Kingsman 1
Yeah.
did.
Yeah.
You know?
No,
Okay.
it's right. Yeah, I agree.
I was surprised that Kingsman 1 did have the big world domination aspect to it. Do they do that again with this one? Is it like
Yeah,
the world is in
absolutely.
peril?
Yes,
Yeah, that's
absolutely.
going to be
Yeah.
the theme going forward for all of them, I bet.
Yeah, that's what that's what I thought Kingsman was originally, was like a parody of spy films, and
Yeah.
that's sort of the point, that they have to do that world domination thing every single time, because it's like, oh, like it's a joke, right? Every time the world's in danger, but every time they save the world, blah blah. Blah. I don't know.
Yeah, so it's weird. There are certain challenges that the Kingsmen face that are resolved not necessarily via the Kingsman's ingenuity. It felt like.
Yes.
And there's also a lot of times in the movie where it seems like time is of the essence and they're fucking around for
Yeah.
no reason, which bothered me. But stylistically, I think it's still super fun to watch. When it's over elaborate, it's not boring. Like, it's not like a Transformers movie where you're like, please fight Transformers. Like, it's as though a Transformers movie where they were fighting the whole time. What were you gonna say, Elise?
Do I do my 3 things now?
Well, we just did
We
two
already
things.
ignored his concept.
Yeah, that's
All right.
fine.
We did 2 things that we weren't crazy about. So
I'm just
why
trying
don't
to
you
keep it
I'll do
truncated.
Tell us a good one.
my 3 things.
Oh,
Mark
all right, yeah,
Strong.
whatever.
Mark Strong is fantastic in this.
He's great in everything.
He's a bit more prevalent,
Yeah, he's
and he really owns it. You can tell he's having a good time, and he's just really enjoyable to watch.
He is.
He's the guy who's a bad guy in every movie, except for Kingsman, where
Yeah,
he's a good guy.
Yeah.
He's really fun.
I like that.
And I think that some of the scenes that in the first Kingsman, like the church action
Oh,
scene,
amazing.
Colin Firth in the bar, those in the effort to top itself, the sequel kind of shirks those really great choreographed scenes in favor of, like, let's do more CG action because we need to top ourselves, which I wasn't crazy. I felt like those scenes really relied on style and great execution as opposed to effects. So like that was something that was a bit of a drawback for me.
And also the other movie built to that moment. And then that was like a payoff.
It was
Sure,
like a
yeah.
climax in the middle
And then
of the
it
film,
was
yeah.
also where the floor of the whole rest of the movie dropped out and it had to rebuild itself to another final climax. This just has those sprinkled in anywhere.
And there's a really fun recurring cameo
Oh man,
Is it Elton John?
Yes.
Okay.
The recurring cameo. I mean, he's in the trailer there, but the
Well,
recurring.
I always saw his name on the billboard. I was kind of
Yeah.
curious what he would add. to
He
the
is in
movie.
it enough to warrant his name on the billboard, though.
He is, and he's very funny. He's
Yeah.
almost like, I think there was one scene that he wasn't funny in, but the other 15 or 20 he was in were great.
That is the weird thing. It's almost like they just put out a feeler into this town and said, who wants to be in Kingsman? And people that said yes, they were like, all right, we'll find a way for you to be in Kingsman.
Yeah.
The movie starts off pretty much doing away with basically everyone you knew from the first movie, and then bringing back in new people, but then not paying them off as much either.
Yeah.
Channing Tatum is probably the weirdest part of this whole movie. It's like Channing Tatum said, I'd love to do Kingsman, and they said, well, we have this check from $200 million, so sure, you can be in it. And he's like, I only have 6 hours, and they're like, we'll make that work.
Yeah. He doesn't do much. Like, his journey's very short, and also, again, disjointed.
I was worried just because, and we shouldn't do this as a society, but I keep looking at the Rotten Tomato score, and that, for whatever reason, influences my opinion on things, but I trust you guys more than I would ever trust the tomato monitor, tomato meter.
It's really fun.
It's weird
It's a
because
really fun movie.
It's weird because I don't understand people that loved Kingsman and were just appalled by this.
Yeah.
Right?
It's a very
Because
same
they're
tone.
not too different.
I can say, like, for me, I didn't think that I thought in the first film, his friend at the academy was great.
Yeah.
His friend, I forget her name.
Oh, yeah.
Roxy.
She was.
yeah.
And it was great to like that he had a counterpart that was also a very competent
Yeah.
agent as well, giving him a run for his money, and also the knife blade henchman. She was fantastic too, like really, really powerful. Julianne Moore is a great actress. A bit of her what she's given to work with falls to the wayside toward the end. But there weren't really any cool female characters that you were like, yeah, she's really awesome.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They don't give Halle Berry
Well, she's not. She's
anything
in
to
nothing.
do.
They
Yeah,
even make
so-
a point of saying that she's kind of
Yeah,
nothing.
so
Yeah.
from my perspective too, just for that, I was like, oh, that's a little disappointing that they regressed in that respect. Zack Snyder.
Well,
was
as a
doing-
so-
or not,
self-
it's not Zack Snyder.
It's a Zack
Matthew
Snyder
Vaughn,
film.
right?
Matthew Vaughn.
It's whatever you want it to be, Elise.
No, I
As a self-proclaimed feminist, I'm not. But I do believe
should be.
women
Yeah, no,
should always
fuck.
should pay their due. And besides that, anyone who plays Catwoman deserves more of a role.
I was actually surprised that they
That's what I
got
say.
an Oscar winner to do nothing.
She'll do
almost in this
anything.
movie.
They got a couple Oscar winners.
Yeah, I know.
But
if I was
well,
an Oscar winner, I'd say I want as little as possible. Pay me.
well, I'm sorry Matthew Vaughn hates women, but
Movie's good though.
I'll go see it.
It's fun.
It's
I'll
fun.
see
It's
it.
fun.
I'll do
you
my.
will enjoy the film.
All right,
Yeah.
if you say so. Cool. Well, thank you guys. We're gonna take a quick break right here. Actually, right before we do that, I want to remind you this episode of Filmhouse brought to you by MacWeldon.com. Mac Weldon, it's better than anything you are wearing right now. I'm actually doing the ad read from memory at
I'm
this point
noticing.
because we've done it so many times. You can save 20% on your first order by using promo code Filmhouse. Get to that in a little bit, but just want to talk about it. I believe we're all wearing our underwear, at least the men.
You weldies.
Is that what they're called? Welding?
Oh, that's why I call them as like
A
nickname.
weldies.
Oh, weldies.
I like
That's
that.
what Kingsman
Oh,
said.
bruv, you wearing you weldies.
That's what they say. Kingsman. Anyway, yeah, I wear them every day. They're the finest underwear I've ever owned. They're even the finest socks I've ever owned. They have all sorts of different things you can own. I even have pajamas. James has his fun weekend shorts. What do you call them? Your
Your
weekenders?
weekenders.
My weekenders.
What do you do in your weekenders?
Anything.
Nothing.
That's the point.
And everything.
Oh, yeah. I sleep in mine. It's been getting a little colder lately, so I get to wear the sweatpants. They're nice. I don't sweat in them. I don't know why they're called sweatpants. I guess because you don't sweat in them. Either way, Mac Weldon, like I said, better than anything you're wearing right now. That's their guarantee. Actually, it's my guarantee too. So please check them out. Use our promo code on their website. It's one of the easiest shopping experiences you'll ever have. That's FILMHAUS, Filmhouse. You can save 20% on your first order. If you don't like it, you send it right back. It's okay. No questions asked. They'll even let you keep it. It's crazy. I love Mac Weldon. So do you. Anyway, take a quick break. We got this little video that Lawrence and I did earlier, and then we'll be right back. Lawrence, I'd like to thank you for joining me today on Spooky Review.
Couldn't be more delighted.
So the last podcast, we were talking about doing a month of scary movies, and I thought we're still in September, so I'm easing into it.
Sure.
And I remember American Psycho. It was kind of scary.
Yeah.
But then I saw that American Psycho 2 is also on HBO for another 3 days.
Ooh.
So I picked it, and you were the only other person in the office who's actually seen American Psycho 2.
Yeah, I just put it on randomly, which was a bad idea.
It's really bad. It came out in 2003. I watched the whole thing, that and Air Bud, but we'll get to that later. Don't worry.
I remember my chief takeaway was that they actively tried to make a movie that stupid college kids would think is very cool.
Something like that. I mean, it's immediately, right off the bat, I could tell. I was like, this is one of those movies where they just slap the title on it afterwards, and it's 100% what happened.
Oh, really?
It was it's like the very first thing. Like, Mila Kunis already, like, denounces the movie. She hates everything that she had to do with it. They basically changed it on her, like, halfway through production. Oh, by the way, it's an American Psycho movie now, so we got to work around that. And like, wow, okay. Because originally, you could take all the Patrick Bateman stuff out of it.
Yeah.
And it's just a shitty teen movie. But I guess
now I'm trying to think. What is...
I don't know.
Well, we got a little
Anyway.
printout right here that actually recaps the plot.
I highly recommend you don't watch this movie. So we're gonna go through the theater of the mind.
Oh, sure.
You and I here, and we're gonna just break it down. So you want to go ahead, take it away.
Let's see here. The film starts with a 12-year-old girl whose babysitter is on a date with the serial killer Patrick Bateman, which, listeners, you may recall, was the titular American Psycho. So right off the top, we're already like, it's tied in, it's locked in to the Psycho universe.
And I guess to be clear too, I don't know if you liked the original American Psycho. It's an okay movie.
So it's funny because, and again, these are all vague takeaways because I don't remember much of the movie itself, but what I think they were zeroing in on is like college kids love Boondock Saints and they love American Psycho. So what if we like engineer a movie for those dumb idiots to like? And there are certain scenes in it that I remember were designed to like appeal to people who just figured out how to drink.
It's an awkward movie. It's one of those things that feels like you'd find in the bargain bin. So anyway, yeah, the girl stabs Patrick Bateman.
Wait, so Patrick Bateman dies at the beginning of the movie?
The very beginning of the movie. A man in a mask who
Present
is just...
day, the girl who is Rachel Newman is now a college student studying criminology. So wait, her babysitter killed Patrick Bateman.
No. The babysitter was killed by Patrick Bateman, and her as a little girl breaks out of her restraints, which is like just bad tape, and then stabs Patrick Bateman in the back.
Oh, so she took down Patrick Bateman.
She takes him down, and then but
her
she's
babysitter died.
Yes,
this is very important.
And she says, "I never told anyone." And the death of Patrick Bateman was always a mystery. And she's just this little crazy girl. So yeah, now she's going to college because she wants to become. She wants to join the FBI to work in criminology.
Yes, tough competition for the position stands in her way, and Rachel proceeds to kill off classmates one by one. She's becoming a new American Psycho.
Oh, boy.
During her killing spree, she decides to see the school psychiatrist, Dr. Eric Daniels, realizing that Rachel is a textbook sociopath. Daniels tries to warn Starkman, who mistakenly thinks the psycho student is Cassandra Blair, with whom he had an extramarital affair. Boy, it's getting real spicy.
It gets really complicated for no reason.
So wait, you think the original vision was just a sociopath college student hell-bent on success killing off all of her competition?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it, because the way I described this to Jess was, it felt like someone who was kind of half watching the original movie and then someone who had heard about American Psycho the book and said, yeah, we could work with that. It's weird too, because she's trying to get this TA position. So because what she really wants to do is stop criminals. She wants to stop serial killers.
Okay, and she does that by killing people? I guess that's a little crazy. I mean, you can work with that. There's interesting questions to be asked there. I'm sure the movie eventually gets into that. So let's see here. When Cassandra reveals that her affair with Professor Starkman has guaranteed her the TA position, Rachel decides to murder her as well. After she does so, Professor Starkman discovers Cassandra's body and calls Daniels to tell him that, quote, she's dead. Well, I'm glad they air quoted that. But he does not identify the victim, and Daniels assumes it must be Rachel. Distraught, Professor Starkman leaves the teaching because what is going on? This is just... She reveals that she is not Rachel. She killed the real Rachel at the beginning of the semester and assumed her identity. Wait, whoa.
Yeah.
So that's not even the main character.
I'm going to say the plot, Wikipedia, also, it comes over a lot of parts.
So Mila Kunis is not the one who killed Patrick Bateman. She
No,
killed her and then took her identity?
No. That would almost make more sense. No. The little girl grows up, and then she goes to a college and then assumes the identity of another college girl who she kills. Once again, this is all in the name of her because she's like, I'm going to be the best serial killer hunter in the world. So I need to kill these people to get out of my way so that I can catch criminals.
Sure. All right. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's kind of a Hannibal Lecter thing going on here, I guess, maybe, but it's done in such a bad way. I will say, though, in this, we were talking about the movie Friend Request, and how the deaths in that were some of them were laughably bad.
Yeah.
Even worse in this one.
Yeah,
But
well,
they're just cutaways.
Boy, it's funny you bring that up. All right. During spring break, Rachel stays on campus and confronts Starkman, who had taken Valium and alcohol, and tries to seduce him to get the job because she still wants that PA position.
It's weird.
So she's basically stalking him down. She's trying to seduce him. She's like, "Hey, give me that job." As he backs up towards the window in a state of confusion and fear, Rachel blows him a kiss, and he falls out of the window to his death.
It's one of the most terrible deaths in a film I've ever
Wait.
seen.
Oh, she's not done. As she leaves, Rachel realizes a janitor has witnessed Starkman's death, and she murders the janitor too.
Yes.
Driving away from the campus with Starkman in her car, Rachel is stopped by campus security, whom she stabs to death with an ice pick. She did him raw, just like Patrick.
Yep.
P. Bates.
It's the same ice pick, by the way.
She kept
She
it?
kept it.
Well,
She kept
that's
the murder
not-
weapon.
It's not sanitary.
She's an idiot.
So this is supposed to mimic the downward spiral when Patrick Bateman's like going nuts and just stabbing everyone. Unstable narrator, what is it called? Unreliable narrator.
Yeah, that's actually one of the best parts in the book, American Psycho. That part, the book switches from first person to third person narrative mid-sentence.
Ugh.
That was one of the craziest fucking books I ever read.
Where
Where
Vonnegut, right? wrong about
Bret Easton Ellis.
Oh.
Who has also denounced American Psycho 2 as a film or as a
Oh.
property in any way, shape, or form.
Brave.
So-
Real brave.
well, I mean, he's just like, what did you do with the thing that I wrote? What is wrong with you?
Cashed in, baby.
It was just Lionsgate being like, I guess we technically own the rights to this thing. Let's go nuts. Yeah, so yeah, this is the part where she just starts... she's just killing a janitor. You know how she kills the janitor, by the way?
Stabbed him with an ice pick?
No, she puts a broom through... Somehow, she gets a broom through like the roof of his mouth,
Yeah.
and then it comes out the top of his head, and then she throws him in a dumpster. Yet, she's seen moments later having a really hard time dragging the body.
It's heavy.
Of,
But yeah, she can lift a 280-pound man over her head.
A little weird, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, it's like the movie didn't think anything through. It's
Well.
like it's a cash grab, $10 million piece of garbage.
As evidenced by the conclusion, Daniels and two cops pursue Rachel in a car chase. Started when she sped by the cops who had Daniels in the car. It ends with Rachel driving off a cliff, resulting in the car exploding, as cars are wont to do when they catch air.
Very strange.
At this point, she is presumed dead by the cops who witnessed the event and the media. But 2 years later, Dr. Daniels is giving a lecture on Rachel's mind and how he wrote a book on her. When he looks up from speaking with a student, he sees Rachel, who has not died after all. She indirectly reveals that she killed Starkman's last assistant, Elizabeth McGuire, and stole her identity to get into Quantico.
Yeah, it looks nothing like her, by the way. It's a little strange when you assume the identity of someone and you don't look like them. I don't know.
As she walks out of his class, Dr. Daniels is obviously disturbed and rattled, so she confesses her crimes to him,
Basically.
but she knows he won't tattle because it'll make a mockery of his best-selling book about her dissecting her mind, her killer's mind.
More or less. I totally forgot. The whole part with the cops, I don't know if you remember this part. It's laughably bad where the cops are trying to take her down in a car because she speeds right by the cops. She claims to be the most methodical, smartest serial killer ever, and she speeds out of a parking lot. She's like the sloppiest killer in the world, but in her mind, she's like, I'm the coolest.
Yeah, I'm learning so much.
So she speeds right by cops, almost hits
she
them.
was no, man, you don't get it. She was creating a scene so the media would see her fake death. She was detracting an audience so she could get the perfect escape.
But before this, the cops are freaking out, going, how do we... She won't pull over. What do we do? So then she rams them, and they're like, now she's hitting us. What do we do?
Wow!
So how, in this situation as a police officer, Lawrence, how would you stop the car?
I would pursue it, give enough space for some good, some good camera coverage of these two cars speeding down the road. Presumably it's at night, so you get a lot of cool flashing lights and stuff. And then, I try to angle that car towards a cliff, hopefully that it cinematically drives off that cliff.
Incorrect.
Oh.
One of the police officers takes his gun and starts firing it blindly in the air while driving 45 miles per hour down the highway, which then she does pull over.
Oh.
So they get out to check on her, kind of cautious at this point. And then she just drives off, and then they lose her.
And
then-
the old stop and go.
But she had enough time to angle the body of Professor Starkman up against a railing and then somehow push a car to go fast enough so that it goes off the edge and then blows up.
Man, what a mastermind.
It's crazy because it's a cheap, crappy movie, but they go out of their way to make things complicated and stupid. Anyway, everyone involved with this movie should be ashamed. I hope you got paid, but dear God.
So it's hitting me now in the way that I felt like when I watched it was trying to engineer being a Boondock Saints. The way that it is like, oh, here's a college student who's way too precocious and dark and edgy, and you just can't help but love her and how twisted and fucked up she is. But isn't this such like a gleeful high energy romp? I was like, they're just trying to ape Donnie Darko style. Like they saw that certain movies got these cult followings, and they're like, oh, if we just mathematically identify those things, like a dark and edgy protagonist playfully flirting with death, so like kids that move away from a small town are like, ooh, I can watch these movies now.
And then it's all covered with some of the worst narration in the history.
That's
of
right. There
anything
was
done.
a narration.
There's one part where
Oh, man.
she's about to kill one of her classmates, and then she goes, oh wait, he's as tortured as I am, because she peeks into like his book, but she's holding an ice pick over his head, and then she goes, well, a girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. That's a line in the movie. It's fantastic. Anyway, thank you, Lawrence, for joining me as we got. I think we should follow up with like S. Darko, maybe.
Oh, there was another Darko.
I don't know if enough people
And
know about
Boondock
it.
Saints 2.
I never watched it. Okay,
Oh, me neither.
I think maybe we do a series of bad reviews of sequels that
Shitty millennial college movies.
It's not even millennial. I don't know what this is. Anyway, back to us. We got a little update at the end. See you on the other side. Wow, what a review Lawrence and I did. What a horrible movie. What are you guys doing here?
Well, we just came by because we thought you might want to talk about dogs.
I do. I want to talk about the ABCU, more importantly. John, why did you come up with this idea?
John.
Yeah,
Oh,
this is actually
your idea, Bones?
this is a joint
Yeah, it
effort
was
by
together.
Bones and my part. Bones actually discovered the Air Buddies universe.
Explain.
Well, I just, I don't have a lot to do during the day. Just kind of hang around.
Well, we got to fix that.
So I spend most of it just looking at trailers for old movies. And I had heard of Air Bud, and then I noticed that they just kept going. And it went from Air Bud, where he just plays different sports, and then his children, who can somehow talk or telepathically communicate with one another, went on a series of adventures. They later bring in some chimpanzees to fight crime and rollerblade and stuff.
So I guess we're here for our Air Bud Cinematic Universe update, the ABCU as we'll be calling it moving forward. So what's the update right now?
Well, gotta say it starts strong. This is probably the most. That's Bob Hoskins right there as the referee. That's the most complete film. I'm pretty sure that this is very grounded, and it's more about the boy's relationship with the dog.
But there is a twist at the end.
Yeah,
don't forget.
Okay.
I'll
try not to spoil it for
anyone.
anyone.
Yeah, it takes like an hour for the dog to even like shoot a hoop, which I was really frustrated with.
Giving away the.
I was actually so. John somehow convinced me to watch Air Bud last night on top of American Psycho 2, and I was actually pleasantly surprised at how much heart the original Air Bud had.
Yeah.
So I thank you for actually getting me to watch that. It's about a child whose father is dead and a dog who is mostly abused, and both these tortured creatures find each other and help each other become whole. And basketball is actually not really a huge part of the film. I feel like the marketing really lied to us about this. It's a pure 1990s Disney movie.
And that heart is carried on with every film. I guarantee it.
Okay.
It doesn't turn into just a gimmick of a dog playing sports or his children, one of them named B-Dog, who is about the bling bling, as it says in the trailer. The whole series is completely pure, and I'm just really excited to just address every episode, every movie with you. By the way, the mom.
Oh my God, there she is.
Bones. Just that. See, hear that noise he made? That was the noise he made every time the mom was on screen.
Well, hopefully she comes back when we check in next week for Air Bud 2.
Golden Receiver.
And this one, not to spoil anything, might involve the mafia.
Well, you've got my attention, and I hope we have yours. So thank you, everyone, for watching. Hope you enjoyed the weird segments that I'm doing this week. It's going to only get weirder from here. Thank you, Mac Weldon, for sponsoring this podcast, and thank you, everyone who shares this little podcast, keeping us alive, keeping the lights on. You guys are awesome. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Okay, but there's no unity to it. So, yeah, there's no reason for any of the people around Laura to be scared before they die, because the whole point is that she loses friends. And that part at least works kind of. There's usually footage of people around her getting killed, and then those appear on her Facebook feed because her Facebook page is haunted.